All right, let's talk about Alan Watts. This is a man who looked at the universe and didn't see some grim, grinding machine. Nope. He saw a joyous cosmic play. And for this little explainer, we've got a very special guide to walk us through it. A character straight from the source material. A wise and kind of mischievous dragon named Zoran. You'll be hearing his take on all of this as we go. And right out of the gate, our dragon guide, Zoran, lands a sharp one. He says metaphors can bite. And the story of Alan Watts, well, it bites right into a huge human problem. This fundamental illusion that, according to Zoran, we've all been trained to just ignore. And boom, there it is. That's the villain of our story right there. Watts just lays it out. That feeling you have of being a lonely little I, a separate person stuck inside a body, he says that's not real. It's a hallucination, a trick we've been playing on ourselves for a long time. Watts himself called this a conspiracy of silence, which is a great way to put it. But to really get a handle on it, let's call it what it feels like, the great human trap. Now, this isn't some accident. Watts argued this illusion is literally built into us from the time we're kids. It's baked into our language. I mean, just think about it for a second. We say, I have a body, right? As if it's a car we're driving around. But that's totally different from saying, I am a body. That one little word creates a separation that isn't really there. And here's why this matters. This is the crucial part. For Watts, this wasn't just some abstract philosophical idea. This feeling of being separate, it's the source code for our biggest problems. Think about it. When we see an other, we create conflict. When we see nature as something out there, separate from us, we feel like we can conquer it, instead of seeing we're a part of it. So if we're all caught in this trap, who the heck can show us the way out? Well, enter our guide for this journey, Alan Watts, a total maverick who saw the trick for what it was, and then spent his life trying to explain it to the rest of us. And man, what a life. He starts as this curious kid in England, moves to America, and becomes, get this, an Episcopal priest, of all things. But he found the dogma to be a kind of cage, so he just shed that skin. He reemerged in San Francisco as this major voice for the counterculture, living on a houseboat and becoming the wise, witty sage we remember today. You know, Zoran the Dragon would have called Watts a kindred spirit. He was a kind of trickster, pointing at the moon while everyone else was busy looking at his finger. He wasn't some stuffy professor. He was a performer, a philosophical entertainer who could weave Eastern wisdom and Western wit into something totally new and exciting. Okay, so if the problem is this trap of separation, what's the solution? How do we get out? Well, Watts revealed this secret by giving it a brilliant new name. He called it the cosmic game. And this right here, this is the big aha moment in his whole philosophy. He said the universe isn't a bunch of separate little bits and pieces. It's one single unified consciousness. Let's just call it IT for now. And what is IT doing? It's playing a massive game of hide and seek with itself. And how does it hide? By pretending to be you and me and every single being, forgetting its true nature just for the absolute thrill of waking up and remembering who it is. And this just puts it so beautifully. You aren't a stranger who just showed up on planet Earth. No, you came out of this place, the same way a wave comes out of the ocean or a leaf comes out of a tree. You're not a noun, you're a verb. The universe is peopling. It's an action. It's something the cosmos is doing. So if we're all just part of this one big thing, what does that mean for stuff like good and evil or life and death? Well, in the usual Western way of thinking, they're opposites, locked in a fight. But in Watts' view, they're more like yin and yang. They're inseparable partners in a cosmic dance. You can't have light without dark. You can't know joy without sorrow. They define each other. Okay, that's the big idea. Life is a game. So how do we actually play it well? To answer that, Watts looked to Taoist philosophy for a really clear strategy. So here are the two basic options. You can strive. And this is the trap, right? This is our default mode, always trying to force things to control outcomes, resisting the flow of life, and it just leads to anxiety and burnout. Or you can flow. This is the art of what the Taoists call wu wei, or effortless action. It's about moving with the currents of life, not fighting them. Like a boat using the wind to sail, instead of frantically rowing against the tide.
And to help us get a feel for this, our guide Zoran has a little dragon trial for us, a simple exercise in just being present. Now, the key here is not to try and empty your mind or achieve some special state. It's much simpler than that. Just notice your breath. Don't try to change it, just feel it. And when thoughts and sounds pop up, just acknowledge them. Let them float by like clouds. Then gently bring your focus back to the simple feeling of now. Because according to Watts, the present moment is the only place the game is ever actually happening.
Now, as you can probably imagine, a guy who challenged pretty much everything, from organized religion to the very nature of your own self, yeah, he wasn't without his critics. So let's take a quick look at his complex legacy. So, the critics. Some called him a philosophical entertainer, saying he kind of watered down these really deep Eastern traditions for a Western audience. A lot of traditional Zen practitioners, for instance, didn't like how he dismissed formal seated meditation. Others accused him of taking a pick-and-mix approach to philosophy, or pointed to his personal life and his use of psychedelics as things that didn't quite line up with his teachings. But look, whatever the critiques, his impact is just undeniable. His voice, so warm, so intelligent, so mischievous, it reached millions of people through his lectures and books. He basically laid the groundwork for the whole mindfulness movement in the West, and his work continues to be the front door for countless people to start asking those big, deep questions about the nature of their own reality. And so we're going to end with one last question from Zoran, a final dragon trial. Because according to Alan Watts, waking up from the great illusion isn't really about finding a final answer. It's about starting to live the question. So, if this is all a cosmic game of hide and seek, are you playing or are you being played?